So, Apple Music just dropped their top 100 best albums of all time list. Um, it's not horrible, but I just wanted to talk about some of my takeaways. The first one is To Pimp a Butterfly, fully absent from the list, not even top 100. Um, they put Good Kid, Mad City at number seven. I can't imagine that they think it's that like. Look, I understand if you think Good Kid, Mad City is better. I'm personally Team T-Pab, but to say it's at least 93 spots higher than on a best albums of all time list, the kind of criteria that um, you would use for ranking albums kind of comes into question. And I get it's an aggregate list, or I assume it's an aggregate list from like a bunch of Apple Music staff contributors. But you would think that if an aggregate put put Good Kid, Mad City at number seven, you'd think they'd say To Pimp a Butterfly is at least better than 1989 by Taylor Swift. Second of which, everyone on Twitter, which is where they were dropping the albums, um, was very scared from the start where Taylor Swift was going to be. Um, I didn't really care that much because I know with these aggregate lists, and I'll get into this in a bit, that they don't matter that much. And obviously, if they're done by a media publication, um, then they're definitely gonna put a Taylor Swift album on there. I was happy it was 1989. I'm not the hugest Taylor fan in the world, but I do listen to her more than the average person. Um, and my favorites are like Red, the twin 2020 albums, Evermore and Folklore, but then 1989 is probably right behind that number four spot. Um, It's pretty good, but not top 20 of all time. But it was so funny how they only put the one Kanye album, Dark Twisted Fantasy. If I could have picked one, would have picked Dropout. But them just putting 1989 over My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and seeing all the fans get mad, like as if they didn't expect that to happen, is really was really something I enjoyed seeing. Um, and people for the most part until I'm pretty sure the top 10 everybody thought that every artist got only one album, which made sense. Like they were only putting My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy for someone with as big and consistent for the first half, as big of a discography as Kanye West, or the Beatles when they put in Revolver in the near the top 20. But that was until Radiohead became the first album, sorry, the first music, I guess, artist slash act slash band to get a double entry with Kid A and OK Computer. I was really happy about that. Those are my two favorite albums by them, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree. But nobody expected that, and there ended up being more. I'm pretty sure Stevie Wonder and the Beatles were the only two others. I'm not 100% sure. Abbey Road being at three, and Songs in the Key of Life being at six, with Revolver and Intervisions being elsewhere. But Radiohead being the first artist there was really funny. I love Radiohead, and I was really happy to see that. But I didn't expect that, especially if they had like someone like Taylor Swift, and they were gonna give her like the media darling placement that she got with 1989 being a top 20 album of all time. But what I wanted to talk about was aggregate lists. With aggregate lists, and again, I'm like we have to understand here that it's not one person making these lists. And this is something that people complain about a lot when it comes to pitchfork ratings. They'll take two pitchfork ratings from completely different authors taking completely different reviews and just saying, okay, why the heck is Invasion of Privacy rated higher than insert album I like? Which, first of all, Invasion of Privacy does not get as much credit as it should from the average music listener. The media, they did it right. I'm not saying it deserved a Grammy over Swimming, but I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying it wasn't better than Astroworld. Um, Overall, like these aggregate lists, they're made by a bunch of people who want to please as many people as they can. Which, if considering the top 10 being, let's see if I can name all of it. Number one was Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Very solid pick. Not my favorite, but I love that record. Um, Miseducation. There was Abbey Road. Wait, I can just pull this up 1 second. And this is why this is called Stream of Consciousness, because I have no real script for this. Oh, it was Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, Thriller, Abbey Road, Purple Rain by Prince, Blonde by Frank Ocean, then Songs in the Key of Life, Good Kid, Mad City, then Back to Black by Amy Winehouse, phenomenal record, Nevermind by Nirvana. I would have picked In Utero, and then Lemonade by Beyonce, which is a huge polar bear in Arlington, Texas, for that stacked list. But hey, fine record. But that is a perfect top 10 if you want to please people, because you have the group of stands who are going to be like, where's Beyonce, hashtag Beehive? And then you have, a bunch of classics. Like the rest of that list is classics. With Good Kid, Mad City having turned 10 years old like 2 years ago, I think we can call it a classic record now. But you can't really get too mad at the list. They put in a lot of great records. They had Zeppelin 2 on there, I believe. They had, um, which, pleased a lot of classic rock fans with the Beatles placements, among others. They put in Kanye. I'm pretty sure Astroworld was top 100. They had a Drake record in the top 50, which was Take Care, which, you know, again, fine record. I wouldn't put it in the top 100 records of all time, but hey, if you're going to put Drake and you want to please as many people as possible with an aggregate list, why not? They did a good job, because if you consider the position they're put in, where nobody's going to be happy with anything, they did a phenomenal job with the list. And I'm really happy that, like, you know, the top 10 turned out the way it did, and it wasn't fully like pop pandering. Um, they put a lot of thought into the list, and I thought it turned well for an aggregate list. You can't get mad at what they did, man. Like, who's gonna be like, oh, where's the niche album? Why can't you put fucking Sunbather, or like where's I don't know, The Money Store by Death Grips? Like, you know, we have other places on the internet for that. Yeah, bye.